Hey guys, what's up? Awesome to have you back on the channel. This is T.Mayne back again with another awesome weekly analysis. Now in this week's analysis, guys, we're going to go through 5 different pairs. The AUD pairs seem to be giving us some awesome setups, so 4 of those 5 are going to be these AUD based pairs. So let's get things started. We'll go into the DXY from a daily perspective. So guys, on the daily, remember there's going to be analysis on our pairs, saves us time. It's from Saturday's live session, so saves us time and allows us to go into the concepts a little bit more in depth, so that you guys here on YouTube also receive the exact same value as the live sessions. So guys, getting started on the DXY, we spoke about these being weekly major swing highs and these also being weekly major swing lows, also as well as monthly swing highs and swing lows. And then looking at the actual trend that's been holding here on the daily, we see a market that originated here, created a high, came down, created a higher low, pushed up, higher high, higher low, and then higher high, and then we've seen a breakdown of structure below these structural lows over here. So looking at this trend, this is the last area where we've seen a lot of buyers stepping into this market. So these are major structural lows that we are going to be looking at as, I guess, daily support. And then as well as weekly swing highs, we're going to be paying attention to these extreme highs over there, and as well as this peak formation that we see here at the end of this potential uptrend. So guys, looking at what we spoke about as well as last week, on last week's analysis, we were looking at the nature of this descending structure over here on our right hand side, looking at this sort of or somewhat corrective descending nature, expecting prices to break to the upside. So we can see that prices have actually violated our trend line that we were expecting prices to stay below. Though looking at the nature of the break, we do see something that happened in the course of I guess last week, where prices did break out of the structure but broke back into the structure. So already giving us some sign of maybe something larger to potentially form within these areas over here. Nonetheless, guys, we have broken the trend line to the upside, and considering this trend that we do see here being violated to the upside, guys, we're going to be going into next week with a bullish bias on the DXY, obviously looking for some bullish price action. So whether that come in the form of double bottoms for continuation to the upside, or a corrective structure that might form on the outside of our trend line for a move to the upside, we are going to look for some bullish bias structure, as this trend that had been holding for a while on the DXY to the downside has been violated. So very simple bias for next week, guys. On the DXY, we're looking for some bullish continuation. Let's go on to Aussie CAD. We'll go up to the daily. Now guys, on the daily, what we can see here is obviously a market that has violated some higher time frame structure to the downside. So all the way back here, we spoke about these structures here being violated. No, I don't think this one here has been violated yet. Let's just slap on a line. Let's just make sure. No, I guess we can say it has not been, or has been. Anyway, I'll let you guys decide. Though what we can see over here is a market that has violated at least a support that had been held by this trend moving to the upside. We have seen nice violation to the downside, and then a retest of this neckline or of this previous support that now functioned as resistance. And then we basically see AUDCAD basically melting down nice and impulsively. So already, guys, we are seeing momentum to the downside, structural levels being violated, and prices actually managing to close below those structural levels on Friday, showing us some nice selling momentum. So guys, we want to be trading in the direction of that momentum. We can already see, let's just point this out on the daily before we drop down onto the H4. We can see that these previous resistance areas were respected as support, and prices could respect these areas as resistance again if prices do manage to pull to the upside. So already understanding from our higher time frame where is an area of confluence, or an area where our selling probabilities will come in. Now we can drop down onto our H4 and then begin to look for a potential entry or a case scenario that we can plan for. So guys, we already know that we want to be trading in the down or in the direction of the downside momentum that we are seeing or that we have seen come in last week. So all we are going to be looking for on Aussie CAD is some downside continuation, whether that comes in the form of a corrective structure to the upside. We're going to be looking for that long-term sell. We know that our probabilities will come in at these areas here. So any trades that we do take before the market actually gets into these areas here are going to be slightly more risky, and there obviously is the potential to be stopped out multiple times, though we know that we are sell biased and we're going to be waiting for prices to give us that sell entry for us to be in the downside momentum. So guys, bearish bias on Aussie CAD, waiting for a potential entry to the downside. Let's go on to Aussie Swiss franc. We'll jump back up on the daily. So guys, Aussie Swiss franc is going to be very interesting for me in the coming weeks. I guess also very interesting since we only have AUD based pairs on our watch list, or at least on my watch list, as the main pairs that I'm going to be looking at for setups next week. So AUDCHF guys, we can see some momentum on our left hand side coming in from the downside. And we also do see, if we drop down onto that H4, some more momentum basically coming up in over there, establishing a high, and then prices basically doing stuff, whatever they want to do in between the extreme high and the extreme low that we do see this recent price action basically forming. So guys, on Aussie Swiss franc, we are going to be trading in the direction, or at least I'm going to be looking for a potential opportunity to trade in the direction of this momentum that I do see on my left hand side. We do have somewhat of a corrective structure, and as well as this new buying momentum that we do see coming from these price regions down there. Also in our corrective structure, we do know that our buying probabilities come in at the low of the extreme of the structure, and our selling probabilities probably come in from the high of the extreme of the structure. And so we are at the low of this structure, and so there are some buying probabilities that might come into play. So guys, on Aussie Swiss franc, this allows us, looking for a buy on Aussie Swiss franc actually allows us to be able to capitalize on a trading opportunity in the course of next week. Remember, we'll discuss this as we go through the pairs, but most of these AUD based pairs we are going to be sell bias, and I think Aussie Swiss franc is the only AUD based pair that I'm going to have a bullish bias on, and this gives me the opportunity to capitalize if I see a trading opportunity on the sell side in the other AUD based pairs. I'm going to take that trade, and if I see a buy opportunity on Aussie Swiss franc, then I will take this trade here, still allowing me to trade either AUD strength or AUD weakness, but then trading that weakness or that strength on the appropriate pair that will give me those probabilities based off what I see from the price action. So I'm still trading the individual price action of these charts, but giving myself an opportunity to capitalize whether AUD gains in strength next week or loses in strength. So guys, AUD Swiss franc guys, I'm going to be looking for some sort of a continuation, some sort of a reversal structure that might form at these support structures here, whether that comes in the form of a descending structure. I'm going to be looking for some upside, whether that's a inverse head and shoulders. I'm going to be looking for some upside, or whether that's a double bottom structure, or whatever bullish bias structure presents itself to me at these support areas. I'm going to be looking for a bullish bias entry. So let's go on to Aussie JPY. So on Aussie Yen guys, Aussie Yen is very, very, very nice, very beautiful structure. Don't think I have to go down onto or go up onto the daily. What we can see here on the H4 is some nice selling momentum, followed by a nice beautiful corrective structure, with our first touch being there, second touch being here, third touch we're seeing a small bull trap forming, obviously catching breakout traders to the upside on the wrong side of the market, and also stopping out any stops that were above previous structural levels, and then breaking back within structure. So beautiful, absolutely gorgeous AUDJPY price action here. And then guys, considering we have broken and closed back within the structure on our high time frames as well as the H4, we're going to be extremely bearish on Aussie JPY, or at least I will be looking for prices to at least tap into previous structural lows, where we will find some type of resistance, or the previous highs that are holding this H4 downtrend to the downside. let's just go on to the H1, have a little bit more of a clearer outlook of what I'm saying here. So let's go down, draw a structure. From these highs, we come down, we create a low, we create a lower high, and then we violate these lower structures here. So these are the highs that are holding this downtrend intact. If prices break these highs, then this is no longer a potential downtrend. This is going to be something larger that we will expect to form over a period of time if prices break and close above these structural areas over there. So us expecting this downtrend to hold, obviously we're looking for prices or a selling opportunity as long as prices are remaining below this structure here on the H1. So that's exactly what we're going to look at for next week, guys. Let's look to sell as high as possible, waiting for prices to either pull into previous structure or give us a potential reversal for some continuation to the downside. So we're going to be sell bias on AJ, looking for those selling opportunities. Obviously, because we do see a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous structure here. Let me just go up to the H4. Because we do see this beautiful structure forming here on AJ, we're going to be targeting extreme lows and the 90% rule of the structure. So looking to actually target or at least partial out when prices get there, and as well as maybe manage our full position when prices, or if prices do actually pull down to these extreme lows there. So we will be looking at a potential trade like, let's just get this short tool. So we will be looking for a potential trade that looks something like this. Obviously, our risk to reward ratio will depend on the type of trading opportunity that we get. Stops normally don't go over 30 pips, so we'll just look at something like that. And this potential trade can give us a good 7% on our investment. So I guess AUDJPY is setting up for a nice potential opportunity to trade in the direction of some higher time frame momentum that we have seen coming in not only once but twice as well. So let's wait on this on AJ. I'm gonna go into AJ with a bearish bias. Let's go on to the last AUD pair that we're gonna have a look at, and that's AU. So AUD USD, guys, on a daily, what we can see, we spoke about this on our live. We are looking at our previous analysis as well. So this descending trend line was obviously from our previous analysis. We were basically looking at some potential upside because prices have violated that trend line nice and impulsively. But we also spoke about these are weekly swing highs that were tested on the daily quite a few times. We see this market making this move to the downside. We see a high being established in this area. We see a push away, establishing a low. We see another equal high being created, retest of that same area. We see a lower low, and now we're seeing another retest of this area with some nice bearish price action pushing away from this area. So clearly this area is obviously an important resistance area that the market has now maybe, I guess, failed to break through 3 times. So we're seeing some selling pressure coming in now, most recently on the daily. Remember, guys, we spoke about this on Saturday, and I think it's important to also mention right now, we want to be sellers as high as possible if we're looking to trade the selling momentum. So it does not make a lot of sense for us to be looking for buys, considering we're at this this daily resistance over here that markets have been able to break above nice and impulsively and could just act as support for any upside continuation. So guys, it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to be looking for some selling opportunities down low. If anything, you would probably want to be more bullish bias than bearish bias at this daily resistance that could potentially function as support. Though what we're going to do, because we have a bias that we established, that a bias that we want to trade, and we want to be looking for those selling opportunities, we're going to be down on the H4 looking for prices to retest previous support structures as potential resistance. So all we are waiting for, guys, is for prices to either pull into these resistance areas over there, or at least these extremes up here for a potential retest or something that will give us an opportunity to be able to be a seller up high. We want to sell as high as we are able to sell. So guys, all we're looking for on AUD USD is for some sort of a correction, continuation structure, or some sort of a reversal structure to form to give us a reason to sell up high. So that's all we're looking for on AU. We're looking for some downside potential, guys. Now we are at the end of this analysis. I really hope that this analysis was valuable to you guys. More than anything, you prepared for next week, and as much as next week might not even be what we're expecting it to be, we're still going to gain in knowledge. We're still going to use the same tools that we use every single week to capitalize from the market, because they do have potential, guys. Reading price action is, I guess, the gospel of trading itself. Price action will always give us information, and even if the price action that develops is not the price action that we expected to develop, that new information will give us something better to trade off in the future. The same way we are using all of this information that we do see developing here to create a bias, and the information that we have on our higher time frames. If new information forms and prices push up higher and give us something that we didn't expect, that new information is going to be another trading opportunity that will present itself. So guys, let's stay positive, go into next week with a good mindset, a winning mindset, and let's do this thing, guys. Give this video a like if you have gained some value. Obviously follow, wow, obviously subscribe if it is your first time on the channel. Otherwise, this is me, T.Mayne, and I'll see you guys in all our future videos.